Hello everyone, Swez here, back with another video. Today, as you can see, we're outside again because the sun is out. So whenever the sun is out, we try to make the most of it because you don't get to see this like most of the times. Yeah. So today's video is a little bit interesting because I want to talk about something that I've been seeing online a lot in recent times. So the question is, why would someone who traveled to the UK or who traveled to Europe from a developing country like, let's say, Malawi or Zambia or Zimbabwe, why would someone who traveled from these countries and relocated to Europe, why would they decide to come back to the developing country, right? So the question is, why would someone decide that? Because there are people that argue to say, if you have left your developing country, let's say you come from Malawi, if you have left, you should leave for good. Now, it doesn't seem to make sense to other people to say, why would someone decide to travel back home? Now, what I mean by travel back home is not like just going to visit. Visiting, that's okay. But the thing is, relocating back to your home country, right? So, why would someone make such a decision and say, you know what, I think I'm done with the UK. I think I have to go back to Malawi. Why would someone make such a decision? So I've had like chats with different people on this topic. I've had with people that have gone back home, like relocated back home to Malawi, and I do have conversations with people that are in the UK that are contemplating of traveling, like relocating back home. And I've been able to gather a few reasons why someone would make such a decision. So this video is not like exhaustive. I won't finish all the reasons why someone would make such a decision, but I think I'll just cover like what I've been able to gather over the last few months that I've been having chats with different people, but also what I've been able to observe. Sorry if you hear the wind; it's a little bit windy today, but I still had to come out and shoot something. So I'll give you maybe 6 or 7 reasons why I think people would decide to go back home, like for good. Because the idea is, if someone has left Malawi, let's say most of the times, the assumption is someone has left on the basis of economic reasons to say, you know what, things are not working out well in Malawi. So they travel, go to UK, and then 4 years after or 6 years after, they're like, you know what, I want to go back home to Malawi. Now, should we say like after 4 years the economy is now good? No, for the most part, it's not like the economy has changed. Pretty much maybe the same how you left it, or even worse sometimes. So why would you decide to say, you know what, I'm going back to the bad economy that I left back home? So I'll talk about a few reasons, and I think maybe they'll make sense, and you'll be able to make sense of whatever I say. So the first reason that I've been able to find out reasons why someone would be able to leave Malawi would be not leave Malawi, leave the UK, for example, is to do with the weather. Yes, I said it, the weather. So you see, if you are coming from sub-Saharan Africa, for the most part, it is hot. Yeah, like throughout the year, you have like it's hot. Yeah, we have like the rainy season, we have winter, we have like some summer here. Not some summer here, but we have like summer back home, right? So you travel, you come to the UK, you get to realize that most of the times it is cold, or maybe I'd say maybe 3 quarters of the year. I'd say maybe 9 months of the year. It is very cold, or extremely cold sometimes. So if you left Malawi, if like maybe when you were already old, let's say you left Malawi when you are 30, for example, and then you came to the UK. I mean, you are used to a certain type of weather, right? So you come here, you may find the cold weather very uncomfortable, and you may be like, you know what, I don't think I can be able to handle this. Because to be honest, sometimes it gets so depressing. And what normally happens is when it is winter time, it gets dark very early in the day. So it gets dark, let's say around 3, 4, and then in the morning the sunrise is around maybe 8 or half 8 or maybe to 9. So you only have like around 6 hours, or sometimes around, yeah, around 6 hours of light. So around this time people are depressed, many people are depressed. So one would be able to decide and say, you know what, I think for this reason, this weather, this cold weather, I'm going back home. And that is a valid reason for other people. Some people have left. So as you can see today, I had to come out because the sun is out, because I don't get to see the sun most of the times, right? So that's a valid reason for other people. They're like, you know what? I don't think I can deal with this weather. So that's the first thing that we'll talk about. The weather is one of the reasons why someone would leave a country like the UK and travel back to Malawi. Yes, the weather. Now, and the second reason would be investments. Now, this one is a little bit tricky depending on how you understand investments. But I want to say one thing. So, when you travel to the UK, and then let's say you want to make some investments either in property or buying stocks or any type of investment, you get to realize that you can't make such investments within a short space of time, mainly because the money that you get here most of the times ends here. You have to pay rent, you have to pay council tax, you have to pay ABCD. So you find yourself not having money left at the end of the month, right? So for you to build not even build a house, if you're coming from countries like Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, you can be able to build a house from the scratch, yeah. But if you're coming from countries, but if you're living in Europe, if you want to build a house, you really need to be a millionaire. You need to buy like land, maybe in the countryside, and then you can be able to build one. But if you're living on a basic pay, let's say, I don't think you can be able to build a house like yourself. Excuse me. So the option is to to get a mortgage. Now, getting a mortgage means you pay maybe a deposit, let's say, of 10% of the fee of the total value of the house, and then you start paying a monthly mortgage fee, or I'd say pay, let's say, depending on the mortgage, I mean, you'll be paying that amount. Now, the thing is, the mortgage likely, not likely, most of the times, it is around maybe 15 to 30 years. So you will have to pay 15 to 30 years for you to fully own the house. Now, when you have finished everything with the deposit, when you have started staying in the house, I'd say you own the house. And that's why you see people say, "Oh, I'm a homeowner." Once they've been able to get a mortgage, right? So that's your house, but then you still have to pay all the fees. I'm trying to find the word. It's not like rent. It's not like you're paying rent. You're just paying your mortgage. So you still have to pay, let's say, for the next 15 years or for the next 30 years. Now, for someone who's coming from Africa, specifically, let's say Malawi or Zambia or Zimbabwe, they have seen maybe their parents building houses from ground up. They have seen their parents or siblings or maybe cousins or just seeing people building houses from the scratch, maybe within a space of 2 years, right? So you come here, you're being told, or you come to the realization, not like you're being told, you come to the realization that you need um, to work or you need to pay your mortgage in 15 to 20 years. Now back home, you have seen someone do it in 2 years. Like I've seen people build houses, like even big houses, maybe 3 or 4 bedrooms. But I have to wait for 15 years for me to fully own like 100%. Right now, the argument is when you get a mortgage here, it's like you get people say, oh, you have equity, you can sell it at any given time, you'll be able to get your money back. That's true, but the thing is, for you to fully own like 100% is after all those years. So other people would be like, you know what? I'd rather make money here in the UK. Let's say I send back some money, and then I'll be building houses back home. Let's say I can be able to build a house in maybe 5 years, right? Which I can't do in the UK terms, like pay for a mortgage within 5 years. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why people would be like, you know what? I'd rather just make some investments, and then after I've done these investments, I can go back home. I should watch these investments with my own eyes instead of someone showing me over the phone, right? So that's the second reason why people can leave the UK. The third reason why someone would leave, let's say the UK and move back to Malawi would be to do with career progression. I'll give an example. Let's say you have studied procurement like myself. I like to use procurement almost all the time. Let's say you have studied procurement like myself, and then the job that you have been able to find in the UK isn't to do with your studies, right? Let's say you've been able to get a job as maybe as a care worker or any other job that is not in your field, and maybe you're so passionate about your field, you're like, you know what? I really want to work in a field that I've studied in. You may start thinking, you know what? I might as well just go back home, and maybe I'll be able to get a job. Now, not saying that you can't be able to find that job here in the UK. You can be able to find it, but the thing is, maybe you've been trying to apply for a job here in the UK in your field for the last maybe 5 years or 6 years or 7 years, but you haven't been able to find one. You tell yourself, you know what? I might as well maybe go try back home. Maybe I'll be able to find a job back home. right? So I see this happens mostly with people that maybe came to do their masters here in the UK. So let's say they were working in Malawi or they were working in Zambia. They had like maybe 10 years experience. They come to the UK. They finish their studies. They're like, you know what? Maybe I'll be able to find a job in my field. While waiting for getting a job in your field, you find, let's say, any other job. Then you start working on that job. Then you find yourself doing that job, let's say, for 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, but you haven't been able to find a job in your own field. Then you're like, you know what? Should I really just be doing this job, or maybe I should go back home? Yeah. So people do find this as a reason to travel back home and be like, you know what? Might as well go back home and maybe start over my career because it's not working here in the UK or it's not just working here. Yeah. So that's the third reason. Now let's talk about the fourth reason. The fourth reason is to do with family. So some people would travel back home just because maybe they have aging parents and they'd like to be close to them. Some would just want to be close to their family. Let's say they have all their family back home. Maybe it's just, let's say, like in my case, let me just give an example. It's just myself and my wife here. And let's say all my family is back home. Yeah, maybe that would be a reason you'd be like, you know what? I might as well go back home and be close to my family. Yeah. That's another reason. Now, the fifth reason, which is in line with the family one, is just maybe isolation or looking for a sense of community. Let me put it that way. The reason I'm saying this is because if you left your home country when you are a little bit, when I want to say when you're a little bit odd, when you were odd, let's say when you were 30 or 35, let's say you come to the UK, it means you have to start making new friends. You have to start building a new sense of community or a new community for yourself. So what normally happens is because mostly maybe you came here to do work and you're just focusing on your job, you tend to realize that you don't have a sense of community back here in the UK. So what you're doing is you're only going to work, you get back home, sleep, go back to work, pay the bills. Like you don't have any sense of community. Now, I'm not saying you can't build friendships here. You can, but the thing is, as you grow up, most of the times, the friendships that you have are the ones that you built when you were younger. And as you grow up, most of the times people have their guards on. You just can't build friendship easily. Yeah. So maybe you may not be able to build a sense of community or friendships here. So what do? You're like, you know what? I might as well go back home and stay home with a sense of community, right? So that's another reason why people would decide to leave the UK. Another reason is to do with depression. So as I said, sometimes it gets caught here that you can be depressed. Now, I'm not saying you can be depressed in Malawi or you can be depressed in um, in Zambia or anywhere. But I want to say one thing to say. So you have someone like me. Let's say I left Malawi when I was 30. Yeah. So I come to the UK. Let's say in my whole life in Malawi, I've never experienced any form of depression. Now I'm trying to be careful with the words that I use here. But let's say I've never experienced any form of depression in Malawi. Now I come to the UK in the first winter. I start feeling a sense of depression. Like the things that I was seeing online, people saying this is depression. Maybe I'm starting to experience that thing. I'm like, but in Malawi, I never used to experience this. Now I've come to the UK. Um, the economy is good. I'm getting good pay. I'm getting good everything. But why am I depressed? Like why in the UK depressed? That's a question that people ask themselves. Like why would I be depressed? Right? So because of depression, someone will be like, you know what? Back home, I never used to get depressed. I'm here, I'm being depressed. I might as well get back home because I wasn't being depressed back home. Yeah. So that's a reason enough why people leave the UK or leave, let's say, European countries or maybe Western countries. Let me put it that way. Now, this video, guys, as I said, may not apply to other people that are coming from other countries, let's say in Asia, or someone who left the USA and comes to the US, to the UK. This video may not apply to you, but maybe for those that are coming from countries like Malawi, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, maybe, yeah. So yeah, that's another reason. So another reason why someone would want to leave or would leave uh, a European country would be to do with just wanting to go back home or maybe tired of living in two different worlds. What I mean by this is, when you're living here in the UK, for the most part, you have to travel back home to see family and friends. So sometimes it becomes tiresome and hectic. Because either you have to plan, let's say I'll be going home every 2 years, I'll be going home every 3 years, or I'll be going home every year, and that is a lot of money for you to travel back home in and out. That's a lot of money. You have to budget a lot of that. You have to do a lot of traveling. Sometimes it gets tiresome. Sometimes it gets tiresome, but also you get to miss a lot of things that are happening back home. Let's say you get to miss weddings of your relatives or your cousins. I mean, you just do it online. I mean, that's okay. That's life. But the thing is, sometimes people get uh, tired of living in two worlds. Now, what also happens is like you're trying to you have like concern for things happening in two countries. So you have concerns of whatever is happening in the country that you're living in. For example, I say in the UK, I'm concerned with the things that are happening in the UK, right? If there's something to do with maybe the economy and everything, I'll be concerned with whatever is happening here. Now, if I go online, I see whatever's happening in Malawi, let's say to do with the economy as well. Maybe there's let's say there's just some chaos back home. I'll also be concerned with whatever's happening back home because I have family there. I'm like, you know what? The question is, so this is what my family is going through, right? Maybe I should go back home and face this with them. And then you get to talk to them. They tell you, no, stay there. We are surviving here. We are surviving. You see? So that's another reason why people would leave. And yeah, the last reason, which maybe someone would think this would have been the first reason, is to do with maybe just not getting um, documents or papers to legitimately live in the UK or in Europe or in these countries that I'm talking about. So sometimes you can come on a student visa in the hope that you'll be able to get a sponsored visa later on after you do your studies. I mean, you finish your studies, you get, let's say, the post study visa, you do your 2 years, but maybe you haven't been able to get a job that is sponsoring you a visa. The last resort is for you to travel back home. Excuse me. Yeah, it's still on. I was just checking if it's still on. So the last resort is just for you to travel back home because you can't force yourself to stay here and be like, you know what, I forced myself to be in the UK, just like illegally. Let me put it that way. No, you can't force yourself to do that. So you might as well just say, you know what, I came here for school. I've been able to get my paper. I've tried looking for a job, but I haven't been able to find a job that will sponsor me a visa. I might as well live in peace instead of trying to run away to kind of like um, get myself into trouble with the laws and immigration and everything. This happened to me when I was doing my studies. So I finished my studies. I looked for a job. I couldn't find a job in the UK. I couldn't find. What I mean by that is I was getting interviews. I did some interviews, but then I wasn't able to get a job that would sponsor me a visa. The last resort was for me to just travel back home, which I did gladly. Yeah, when I say gladly, I mean gladly. I went back home. People were like, "Why did you leave? You should have said there." A, B, C, D, A, B, C. There was a lot. So there was just a lot. But then I was like, you know what? I shouldn't force myself to be here. I just want to force him. I just don't want to force myself to be here. I want to be here legally. So I'll go home. I mean, I haven't been able to get a job. But then, in God's providence, here we are. I was able to get a job from Malawi, and yeah. So yeah, these are just some of the reasons that I was able to gather or that came to my mind while doing this video. And yeah, if you have traveled back to your home country, let's say from Europe or from okay, another reason. Let me talk about another reason that I've also found. I wanted to finish the video, but this just came to my mind is because sometimes people can make sense of the life that they're living here. What I mean by that is you left, let's say Malawi, because the economy wasn't good. Now you come here, you find yourself here just living hand to mouth. I mean, you're working hard, you're putting in the hours, you're doing night shifts, you're doing day shifts, you're doing whatever shifts you can do. But then at the end of the month, you only have £200 left in your account because what? You have paid the rent, you have paid the car, financing. That's if you got your car on financing. You have paid your council tax. You have done everything, and then at the end of the month, the only money that you have left is maybe £200 or £100, or maybe you don't even have money. So you're like, okay, so. But when I was back home, I was able to have like a lot of money after, let's say, after paying my bills. But here it's like all my money is going into the bills, right? So sometimes people will be like, you know what, I might as well go back home because this is not working. This is not working. So this is because sometimes when you're leaving your home country, let's say you're leaving Malawi, uh, let's say you know the amount that you'll be receiving when you travel to the UK. So you try to equate that in Malawi kwacha. Let's say, oh, I'll be receiving, let's just say, let me give an example. Let's say I'll be receiving £2,000. Now you're in Malawi and then you do £2,000 doing the bank rate. You find out that maybe that's around, let me just say, for argument's sake, I'll just say maybe that's 5 million Malawi kwacha, right? So you're like, you know what? I'm in Malawi, I'm receiving 1 million. If I go to the UK, I'll be receiving 5 million Malawi kwacha. But the thing is, you're forgetting that you'll be receiving that money in pounds. You won't be receiving it in Malawi kwacha. So you come here, you start spending it in pounds, you realize that at the end of the month, you only have 600,000 left, like 600 Malawi kwacha left, right? If you still equate it, because at first you were trying to equate it. So if you still equate it, you realize that, oh, I only have like 600 Malawi kwacha, 600,000 Malawi kwacha. Like, oh, that's not a lot. So these are some of the reasons why people do leave countries like these ones and travel back home. And these are valid reasons. Now, I would say one thing to say, each and everyone, they do have their own reason. Not like everyone would have like weather, investment, or this. No, everyone has their own, right? So maybe the question would be like, you, Wesley, are you going back home? You are doing this video, are you going back home? I'm here, guys. I'm here. Um, I'm here for now. That's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. That's what I'll say. But yeah, I hope you guys are good. And yeah, so if you're watching this video, maybe you left the UK or you have been contemplating or you've been thinking of leaving. If I haven't said one of the reasons on this in this video, you may want to put it down into the comment section. Maybe it will resonate with someone else who is thinking about the same. And maybe if you have already traveled back home, you can also comment the reason why you traveled back home. And yeah, I'd just like to also hear from you. I hope you do find this video helpful. I'll see you guys um, in what in another video. Peace.